Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
That's what I'm talking about. All of our guests today, including Ross Tucker, standing by, sponsored by Passant Motors. You're invited to the biggest sale of the year, the Passant Motors Anniversary Sale. It's back. Check it out at Passant Motors, BASANT Motors.com, as we bring in Ross Tucker from the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, CBS Sports and Westwood One. Thanks for doing this. How are you, sir?
Fantastic. How are you guys doing?
Lovely. Very well, very well. So you worked Baltimore at Cleveland on Sunday. Browns upsetting the Ravens. Jameis Winston, 59 seconds left, TD pass to win it. It was spectacular to watch on television. What was it like being in that building?
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, like when people talk to me about being a broadcaster, that's what I think of. I think of games like that. I mean, it's really twofold, right? I love the sport. I wasn't ready to be done with it. So this is a way in which I can still work in the sport. But then in particular, when it's a game like that, the energy, the building is just rocking. It is so cool. I have like the best seat in the house. I'm like 50-yard line, perfectly in the sight line, and the whole place is just going absolutely bananas. And I never care who wins or loses. I will say this: I'm so happy for those people. Like the Browns in particular this season, it's been so disappointing. Their fans are so beat down. That's their first home win this year. I'm just glad that those people got to have some joy, some happiness, and they need that. They call it the factory of sadness. I'm glad that they were able to manufacture some happiness yesterday.
Yeah, and just to add to that, the team they beat is the team that left Cleveland not that long ago. Jameis Winston, I just watching some interviews of him over the last couple. I think he might be the best interview in the National Football League. But how do you explain what he's up to right now? Filling in for Deshaun Watson and looking so good. Did you expect that at all?
Well, I thought he had a chance because he is aggressive. He is going to attack the defense. He's made a lot of money. He's in his 10th year. I think he's kind of at peace, and that's what he said he learned from Joe Flacco last year, just to be decisive and play free. And that's exactly what Jameis did. He knows he has the ability. I mean, he won the Heisman and #1 overall pick and all those type of things. So he knows he has the ability to do it. And then in particular, the Ravens were without their top two corners in Marlon Humphrey and Nate Wiggins. And I thought that gave the Browns an opportunity to take advantage of them, and that's exactly what they did. I mean, the Ravens still had a dozen plays where they easily could have won the game if they don't drop interceptions or drop passes from Lamar Jackson, who was incredibly frustrated, as you might imagine. But ultimately, I think for the Browns, I thought Winston had a chance to have a big game just because the Ravens have already had secondary issues, and now you add to it them not having their top two corners. It was kind of the perfect opponent for Jameis.
Ross, let's give the Bills credit. Man, they were good in Seattle yesterday, but the Seahawks, you got teammates fighting, you got bad penalties, bad snaps, you're down on the 1-yard line, you're screwing up there. That Seahawks team did not look good yesterday at all.
That is correct, and I'm really surprised that they played that poorly at home.
Yep.
And then hearing the quotes from Geno Smith after the game about, it almost felt like they were at an away game at times because of all the Bills fans. That really surprised me that many people from Buffalo went to Seattle. I guess, you only play there, whatever it is, once every 8 years or something. So it's an opportunity for Bills fans to check it out. We played there in 2004, and when I was with the Bills, we beat them very badly as well. So for whatever reason, I guess that's been a good spot for the Bills. But yeah, that was surprising to me. for the Seahawks coming off that 20-point win in Atlanta. I was not expecting them to lay an egg like that.
You know, when Aaron Rodgers went to New York, a lot of people were thinking Super Bowl. The time had arrived. They've now lost 5 straight. They're 2-6. They're tied with the Patriots in the basement of the division. They fired their coach. That's not helping. They lose again yesterday. 13 years and no playoffs. You got to feel for Jets fans, Ross, but, I mean, it's just a disaster right now there.
I cannot believe they lost that game. And listen, it's any given Sunday, right? Like the Browns were big underdogs and they beat the Ravens. But in particular, for them to lose to the Patriots, who Jets fans hate, and the Patriots are not good, and this is a rebuilding year for them, all that to be the case, and they still go ahead and lose to them, that has to be like an absolute gut punch for the Jets. It's one of the most stunningly disappointing seasons I think I've ever seen for a team, because they have way more talent than the way they're playing right now. It's really, and it's across the board, and a lot of what they've done is what Aaron Rodgers wanted them to do, and it didn't work. And I think they're going to be a fascinating team for the rest of the year, because on some level it feels like they're just kind of be playing out the string, like to have Aaron Rodgers playing in meaningless November and December football will be unique.
Talking with Ross Tucker. Washington beats the Bears 18-15 on a last play Hail Mary, Jaden Daniels to Noah Brown. Ross, I understand you have a problem with the way defensive coordinators approach a Hail Mary situation.
Well, yes. And the way you said that, Donnie, makes me believe that you don't follow me on social media at Ross Tucker NFL.
Always, come on.
But that the greatest producer in the entire province of British Columbia, Ryan Henderson, does follow me, because he made you aware of my post at Ross Tucker NFL. Yeah, so there's 2 different things here, right? Number one, the Bears royally screwed up the play before. There was absolutely no reason for them to not have at least 2 guys protecting the boundary on that play. That made no sense that they just gave the Commanders a free 15 yards to even have the opportunity to throw a Hail Mary pass. So that was an epic coaching failure on the play before. Then the actual Hail Mary, I still believe that, they really only rushed 3, and then the other guy is just waiting. The other guy needed to attack and at least rush 4. And then lastly, you drop 7. A couple of those guys aren't hardly even doing anything when you drop 7 like that. In my mind, you need to drop 6 and rush 5. You rush 5, they're not even going to have a chance to get the ball off. And yet the Bears allowed that to happen. I see some of these teams, guys, the Eagles, when I do their preseason games, they go over that the day before every game. And yet in that moment, the Bears totally butchered it.
Ross, did you see the video of Tyreek Stevenson, Bears defensive back, taunting the crowd? I was going to say just as the Hail Mary was about to happen, but it was actually, part of it was during the play. What the heck's he thinking?
I have no idea. It was the first couple seconds of the play. He's not paying attention. And then it's unbelievably poetic or poetic justice, whatever you want to call it, that he was the one that tapped it to Noah Brown.
Yeah, he tipped it.
It went off his hand. Like, you couldn't have made – he actually would have been better off if he just kept taunting the crowd.
Yeah.
He's the one that came over and hit it like a volleyball set to Noah Brown. He would have been better off if he just kept taunting the fans the whole time.
Hey, Ross, to wrap up, you mentioned the Eagles 37-17 over the Bengals. Very impressive. Your thoughts on what the Eagles are up to these days?
Well, it's back-to-back 20-plus point wins now for the Eagles. They've won 3 in a row. Ever since the bye week, now they're putting points up, 28, 37. They are starting to look like the team they were early last year, or the team they were in 2022. We know they're talented, but the depth is impressive. And a lot of these young guys, their young corners are playing well. They're coming. The Eagles are coming right now in the NFC, because that was, people say, oh, it's the Browns. Oh, it's the Giants. Well, the Bengals are a pretty good team, and the Eagles just took them to the woodshed.
All right, Ross, now you think that I don't follow you on Twitter. And I
don't, because you said, evidently you had a problem with it. Why would you say that? You would say, if you did follow me, Donnie, that was a real Rick move by you.
It really
was. If you did follow me, Donnie, you would have been like, hey, Ross, I saw on Twitter where you posted about the Hail Mary.
Yeah, the word evidently. Maybe you caught me there. But I do follow you, and we always start the segment usually with the food in the media area before games. In Cleveland yesterday, you didn't have a shot at the omelet station.
Yeah.
You admitted that on Twitter. So that was very disappointing.
It was outside of the cafeteria. I'm not sure why, but there was an omelet station outside of the cafeteria, and I thought the cafeteria stuff was enough on its own.
Okay.
To be able to show the chicken and the steak and the salad, and then the ice cream station was huge. I didn't realize they had those Blue Bunny ice cream cookies, so I didn't get one at halftime. But my partner, Jay Feely, had one, and I was like, oh my gosh, we need one. So I had the runner go find one. You had to dig deep to get it. And at the first TV timeout of the second half, I scarfed down a 500-calorie, huge ice cream cookie in less than 2 minutes. That's the stuff that should get on video and people should watch.
Hey, I'm impressed you've got a guy there to get you an ice cream sandwich.
Exactly.
Her name was Tasia.
Okay, perfect. Well, thanks to Tasia. Ross, thanks for this. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, see you, boys.